that kind of thing. So here again, I got the chance to work with Swarovski. So we did this kind of beautiful thing about space travel was so glamorous and was so amazing. And there are no more shuttles now, and there's no more, so let's make them special and amazing. And so this whole collection was about kind of like the universe, and it's called The Stars. Last season was called The Heist, and it was about stealing diamonds. This season is called The Stars, and it's about men feeling like they're the center of the universe for a moment, because men don't get that kind of stuff that often. So it has a little bit of like a moment to sparkle moment to it, or has a, it's a glamorous look, but it also can be worked into any wardrobe. That great blue flight jacket can be worn with a pair of khakis from anywhere. You don't have to dress in Marlon Gobel 100% to still feel special. And that's my thing, is I want people, or men, to feel special but not a spectacle. So a lot of the fabrics are very tech, so it's kind of like a mechanized, kind of like when a satellite unfurls its lenses when it gets into space. As we go down, I'll show you this gold one that's fantastic. Again, it looks like deep space. So a new way of doing formal, like a new way of doing formal. And then you'll love this season. There are these kind of orbital capes that look like the rings of Saturn, kind of. So, I once you start, when you have a great story to start with, the collection designs itself it tells you what it wants to be. And maybe that's just me, but that's how it starts to all make sense. And then it gives you a reason to want to buy that jacket or buy that suit, is because you feel like, oh, it reminds me of a story. And then what is sad, but also I felt meaningful, was, Neil Armstrong passed away within the last week or so, and he was the first man to step on the moon and to take that giant step for man. So men, take a giant step. Like,
that's a good one.
Be brave, don't be so timid, because we all know girls love a guy who looks good and knows he looks good, but doesn't act like he looks good. So that's what I want to do, is make clothes that make the guy feel so comfortable and know that he looks good, but he's able to just stand around and be comfortable in what he's wearing too. So that's why the silhouettes are familiar and that kind of thing, but the fabrics are fresh and new and interesting, and so yeah. Well, that's this jacket is organic woven horsehair, because it's spring. It was woven. It's see-through, and I don't know if we can kind of like see that through the light. Maybe it's easier on the other way, but it's very cool. It's very cool in the way that it is not hot, because I always found when I was wearing a tuxedo jacket, the first thing I want to do is take it off. So this is kind of like, breathable, but it also doesn't wrinkle. It's like, instead of it being, it's not going to wrinkle. You're going to feel crisp and good like that. And then one last thing that I'll kind of show you is my favorite is working with Swarovski. I got to develop these interesting buttons that are like the Hubble Space Telescope photos, and they look just infinite. Like, you really are looking into, isn't it? But yet, well, yeah, I mean, all those great space films all made so much sense, but you just take it, but pull it back a little bit, and don't. Where I went, with diamond armor, it was diamond armor because it was the hardest substance on Earth, not because it was going to be just diamonds. It was if you're going to wear something bulletproof, it should be diamonds. So, so there was kind of that. And then, of course, you got to give love to the astronauts. So in the front, there is kind of this one kind of, he is this kind of modern, but again, moto, but kind of astronaut suit. So it's really kind of beautiful. And again, with these kind of Saturn orbital rings. So modern, but and the nice thing is that, like what you said earlier, I've never seen that before, but you have seen a moto jacket, so you know that if you put that on, it's going to fit and be like a motorcycle jacket, but it also is going to be, no one has one of these. That's what I think. That's my job. That's my job, is to give you something you haven't seen before, but also you're not afraid to try on. So do you remember being in third grade and we learned about the planets? Yeah, and we made, you made all the planets, but yet they didn't have the super high-res photos yet because we didn't have the technology to know. But Jupiter was these stripes and like really interesting, and that's kind of how, it was meant to be. So it is the Jupiter suit, and then the kind of colors are kind of like, Neptune and all orange for the sun and that kind of, but yet we can be that nerdy, but at the same time it's also kind of glamorous too. So it's kind of a little for the science guy and a little bit for the glamour guy too.
So what are you going to do after the show?
Today?
Yeah.
Well, take a nap for a little while, but then go have some fun. I mean, you work for 6 months with an idea, but the problem is this is so much fun for me that I probably will find myself, I'll find myself like sucked into another idea and off on another exciting adventure.
I can't wait to see it.
Well, thank you.
Hint.
Oh, are you kidding?
I know you're already thinking about what you're going to do in February, so come on. Just a little micro hint.
How about Hangover? The Hangover? I was thinking something like where you wake up in the morning and you don't remember exactly what happened the night before. How fun were those photos? But yet, what if you kind of like dressed the guys and then it was kind of these perfect outfits, but the whole thing was like you don't even remember. You looked so good, you don't even remember. Because I kind of like that idea of guys are so comfortable in the way they're dressed. When they're on a date with someone, they can really focus, or they're out having fun, they can really focus on the fun instead of being self-conscious about, do I look okay in this? Am I sweating through this? Do I look fat? No, I know I look good, so let's get some more tequila and have some fun and dance.